Benny. Hello.
Hello.
Esther, did you vote?
No, I didn't know how to do it.
I'll show you.
So we're on Gimel Amid Bays near the bottom.
Yeah,
Where the Gemara is-
the
the
Mishnah,
Gemara-
no?
Gimel Amid Bay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's on the Mishnah, right?
No, we did.
Not yet, no,
We did the
not
Mishnah.
yet.
Huh?
Middle of the page.
Gimel Amid Bay is the Gemara.
The middle of the page.
Okay. Whatever.
Right? We're in the Gemara. We did the Mishnah already.
Okay.
We don't take collateral when we collect from minors the machzis shekel. Halid boya toivim. But we don't take collateral, but we command that they pay. Order the tamer kishevi stage cyrus. There are two stages by the machzis shekel. Once you're 13 years old and you have two cyrus, the Chachamim made a rabbinic requirement to give the machzis shekel, because the machzis shekel was done to count Klal Yisrael when they were 20 years and up. So when you're 20, you're considered a katan when you're under 20. Once you're 20, they can take collateral from you. Aval in lo yavi state size, if they're complete katanim, they're under 13. Lo b'da, he has no chiv at all. Like we said, even if he has two cyrus, we don't take collateral from him until he's 20 years old. We also don't take collateral from a Kohen who didn't pay. Amrav Yehuda, Amrav Brachya, Talmid Rabbanan Yochanan ben Zakkai Zeyitnu. Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai said that even the Kohanim have to give the machzis shekel. Why? Because it said Zeyitnu. Zeh is the gematria 12. Shnei Masar Shvotim Yitnu, which includes Shevet Levi, which includes the Kohanim. Rav Tevi b'shem Rav Amnuna, that came Meshivim Chacham Rav Yehuda, that the Chachamim responded to Rav Yehuda that Chatas Yachid Mesa. If you have a korban chatas of an individual person who, let's say, was miskaper with it, he had lost it and had designated another animal in its place and then found the original animal. So such a chatas is put to death. You put it in an igloo and you let it starve to death. However, if a tzibur brings a chatas, and let's say it gets lost and refound, ein chatas tzibur mesa. Mincha sayochid kreva kolim. The mincha of a private kohen is completely burned. But vein mincha tzibur kreva kolim. But a mincha of a public tzibur, like mincha sa'omer, the shtei alechem, there the remainder can be eaten. Vikasha, now, based on Rav Yehuda's opinion, Meshivin la'adam davar she'ein moedebo, can you ask a kasha on somebody who doesn't even hold from that? This nan, she'ein chatas tzibur mesa, but Rav Yehuda Emer mesa. Rav Yehuda doesn't hold to the Chachamim's distinction between a chatas yachid and a chatas tzibur. So remember, Rav Yehuda was the one who understood why the Kohanim are not giving the machzis shekel, because if they give a machzis shekel, how are they going to be able to eat the various menachos? A Kohen who brings a mincha, that mincha is completely consumed. I understand when the Kohen gives a machzis shekel, isn't that considered sort of a personal donation of a person? The Eden Mesivin lay. But we answer kivan shenimsar litzibur kamishu nidvas tzibur. Since the machzis shekel is given to the tzibur, it's not considered that you like you have some private ownership to it. It's as if it belongs to the tzibur. That's why the Kohanim can eat of the minchas ha'omer or the shtei halechem, even though they contributed to machzis shekel, according to Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. Ksiv, it says kol ha'over lapkudim. Who has to bring the machzis shekel? Anybody that was in the census that was counted to serve in the Israeli army. So you have machlokas Rabbi Rab Nechemia. Chad Amar called the over biyom yitin. That the requirement to give the machzis shekel was anybody who had crossed through the Yam Suf. Well, the Kohanim crossed through the Yam Suf, so based on that opinion, they would have to give. The Charona Amar called the over al pikudei yitin. The other mandamar is whoever was counted in the army of Klal Yisrael, that's who has to give the machzis shekel. Well, the Kohanim, you remember, when we have the count in Parshas Bamidbar, Kohanim aren't counted in that census. They're counted in their own individual census, but not with Klal Yisrael. So this mandamar would hold that the Kohanim do not give the machzis shekel. Mandamar called over b'yom yitain Messiah Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. That's a support for Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai's shita that the Kohanim do give the machzis shekel because everybody went through the Yam Suf. Mandamar called over al pikudei yitain. The one who holds that it's only those people who were counted in the census for the army give, Messiah ben Bukhari, who said that the Kohanim have a reason not to give it. Okay.
What about the people that didn't go in the army for different reasons? Like he built a new house and he's afraid.
That's a different din. Between the age of 20 and 60, everybody was counted. And they're in the army of Hashem. Then when they go into battle, the Kohen HaMashiach comes out and gives some announcements. Anybody who's in their first year of marriage, go home. Anybody who just planted a field, go home. But then next year they're still in the army. They're given an exemption based on that, but they were still counted in the census.
Okay. Good.
Mishnah says, Aval pisha amru, ein mishkanin nashim avodim uktonim. So women and avdik, an eved knani, and a cotton, so we don't take collateral from them. But if they voluntarily want to give a donation, machzis shekel, we accept it from them. However, hanochri, the hakusi, a nochri is a non-Jew. Kusi were the shomronim who at some point in Sefer Malachim they converted because they had an attack of lions and they were afraid. So initially they were Jews. Later on, there was a machlokas. Eventually, there was a machlokas. The Chacham said they're not Jews, but we'll see in the Gemara what period we're talking about now. So the Mishnah says a non-Jew and a kusi that tried to give the machzis shekel and makabel mehem, we don't accept from them. Similarly, a makabel miyadam from the same nochri and kusi, kinei zavin, kinei zavois. If somebody becomes a zav and they want to bring pairs of birds as a korban, if you're male or female, kinei yoldois, pairs of birds if you gave birth. We don't accept these korbanos from non-Jews. Ze'aklal, kol shenidiv v'nidiv, a donative offering, like a korban olah, mekabel miyadam, that we can accept from a non-Jew. Kol she'eino nidiv v'nidiv, if it's obligated to bring, for example, a chatas, you committed a certain aveira that requires you to bring a korban chatas. That's not nidiv v'nidiv. That's choiva. Such korbanos ein mekabel miyadam. Chen mefurish al yedei Ezra shenemar loy lachem v'lanu livnos base located. It's not for you to help us build the Beis Hamikdash. It's for Jewish people. Okay, Daf Doc continues the Mishnah. Ve'elu shechayavim bekalboin. A kalboin, we're going to see, is 1/24th, is one ma'ah, which is 1/24th of a shekel, which was like a price paid. For example, you had a full shekel, and you go to a money changer to give you a machzis shekel. So you have to pay him a kalboin to make the change. And we're going to see there are some people who are exempt from this kalboin. So Leviim Yisraelim have to give the kalboin. Geirim avodim meshuchorim. Avaloi kohanim were exempt. Noshim. The avodim uktanim eved knani and a cotton, they would be potter from the kalboin. Hashoikel al yad kohen, you are giving a machzis shekel on behalf of a kohen, or al yadei isha al yad cotton potter, because since you're basically being a shaliach for them, and they themselves would not have to give the kalbon, you don't have to give the kalbon either. Bim shakal al yodav al chaveiro. But let's say he's giving a shekel to cover him and his friend, right? Because they both have to give a machzis shekel. Chayiv b'kalbon echad. So the Katana Kama says one kalbon will take care of both of them. However, Reb Meir Omer no shnei kalbonos, because each one may change. I mean, one guy gave for two, so it requires two kalbonos. Noisen selov and noitel shekel. You gave somebody a sell as a full shekel, and you took a half a shekel back. Chayiv shnei kalbonos. You have to pay two kalbonos. Hashoikel al yod ani. Let's say you want to give a machzis shekel for a poor person, or ayidei shcheno for your neighbor, va'al yad ben iro, or just somebody else from your neighborhood. So, if, for example, if I'm doing it on behalf of somebody else, but it's my money, patur. But v'im hilvan chayiv. But if I loan the ani, rather than I myself paying for him, then you have to pay the kalpa. Now let's say you have brothers who inherited the estate of their father, and they've divided it already among them. So they're considered partners. Now, partners who own something are chayiv in the kalbon. And partners who own a behema are p'tur in meiser behema, because partners are not chayiv in meiser behema. If you have 10 animals, you have to give one animal as meiser. However, let's say before they haven't divided what they've inherited from their father, so it's considered one rishus, where they would be chayiv in meiser behema, p'tur in kalbon, because then they're not partners yet. It's like one house. And just like we said, one house pays for everybody, they wouldn't have to pay for the couple. Kamihi kalboin. How much is the kalboin? We said mo kesef, the Reb Meir. Mo was the same as a geira, and there were 10 geiros in the time of the Chumash. Eventually, it became 20, and then they increased it by a certain amount to become 24. So each shekel had 24 ma. And therefore, a half a shekel is 12 ma. So when you give one ma for a machzis shekel, basically you're giving 1/12 of the whole amount. It doesn't have to be a full ma, just half of that. That's the mission. So Aval Pisha Amru. So Halid Boya ain't toivin. So we said that if it's a cotton, Or Nisha, we don't take collateral, but you can demand them to pay. I mean, prior we said you don't have to, there's no claim on them at all. Here we say there's a claim. So it depends. Kan b'she'evi stage Cyrus. Once they reach 13 years old, then you can claim from them. Kan b'shloivi stage Cyrus, then you have no claim whatsoever. Then the Mishnah said, Anochri v'akusik are not allowed to, we don't accept the Maksis or Shakel from them if they decide to give it. Amrav ba, ti potter kemando amar kusi kenochri. Seems like our Mishnah is learning, not like the Kusim initially were Jews. The author of our Mishnah is learning that this is when the Kusim were considered Goyim. The Ispalgin, because we have a Machlokes. Kusi kenochri divrei Rabbi. Rabbi held that a Kusi has a din of a Goy. So, and on Rab Lazar mas Nisan ben Nochrim, that when we say Korbanes Choiva cannot be accepted by Goyim, that's only Goyim, but Habakusim lo. The issue of Kusim is a machlokas, whether they're considered Jews or not. Similarly, V'tani Kain Adam, says Adam ki akriv mikem korban lashem. The rabbi says Gerim, to include Gerim. But mikem is lahotzi samumrim. But somebody who is converted to Christianity, or let's say the Kusim, not the Kusim, we're talking about Nochrim, would be excluded. But according to the Mandoma that holds Kusim were appropriate converts, Gerim, then we would accept the Korbanos from them. Now, Masnisan Pligal Rabbi Lazar, our Mishnah seems to be in contradistinction to this Rabbi Lazar, because it says, Ein mekabel miyodam kine zavim zavos kine yodas. We don't accept from the Nochrim and the Kusim the pairs of birds that were brought if you were a Zav, or if you gave birth. And I don't understand. That part of the Mishnah can't be talking about Goyim. There's no shaykhs to Goyim. Elareisha b'nochrim. The part where we say we're not Makabel, the Machzis HaShekel is referring to Mamish Goyim. Seifa, where we say that we don't accept the Korbanei Choiva, that's referring to the Kusim. Keinu, Reisha b'nochrim v'seifa b'kusim. Amrav Yechna. Initially, they made a gzeira when they were building the Beis HaMikdash that we would not accept from the Kusim, like you have something that the Beis HaMikdash would use exactly as you gave it, or that's something Dover Mesuyim. There's something that's Eina Mesuyim, like they would use wood or gold or silver. So initially they didn't accept anything. Uvasof, in the end, once they finished the construction, we could accept basic commodities so that we wouldn't point at something and say, oh, that guy donated that. Basically wood, silver that would get incorporated into the building of the Beis HaMikdash, like to repair it, that you could accept. But a specific thing we would not accept from them. Because remember, Ezra told them, we're not going to accept things from you. And if you accept something Mesuyim, it would be clear that it had been donated by somebody like that. And they would be, it makes us shameful that we have to rely on non-Jewish contributions. So Reish Lakish says, "Bein betchila, bein besof, ein mekabel mehan loy davar mesuyim v'loy davar she'ein mesuyim." Reish Lakish says, no matter whether in the beginning and the end, we didn't accept anything from them. However, our Mishnah is pligal Rabbi Yochanan, because our Mishnah says, "Ein mekabel mehan hegdish una davar lebedek habayis. You don't accept any donation from them, even for temple upkeep. And this is the kind of thing that Rabbi Yochanan seemed to, or that Rabbi Yochanan thought that we would be allowed to accept from them. Passer lo bein b'tchila bein b'sof l'vad davar mesuyim. It's he's referring to things that were not makabel from them is a davar mesuyim, but the form that are not mesuyim we would be able to accept from them after. Reish Lakish Amar bein b'tchila bein b'sof ein makabel mehem loy davar mesuyim. We're not allowed to accept anything from. So Masnisa Plika Rabbi Shem ben Lakish, Vitani Hakol Shavim, Shehein Noidrin Vinidorin. That Goyim can make Nidorim, and you can make a neder relating to the non-Jew. Well, that seems to imply that you can accept Nidorim from a non-Jew. Passer la oila. So they for we're talking about a korban oila, which we said is not a korban that is brought because of an obligation, but it's brought purely donative. Fine. Nicha noidrin, oila, that works for the word noidrin, the Gentile making a neder. So he can make a neder to bring a korban oila. But nidoirim, but somebody made a neder to bring the non-Jew as an ola. What do you mean? Ola? You can't offer a person as an ola. What is low? We're talking about a case where the Jew said, Hare alai oila. A Jew made a neder to say, I want to bring a korban oila, and there was a non-Jew standing next to him. Vishama nochri, masha omer zeh alai. The nochri says, whatever the Jew said, I'm going to take the same vow. So that's what's considered nidorim. However, freit the Gemara, the eino maybe imon esachim. If now, when you bring a korban ola, you also bring yayin nesech. You bring the nesachim wine. So, would you require the non-Jew to bring the wine? And for example, if you gave more money than you normally would, that's called a moiser nesachim, and it would go to pay to make klei. And a klei is certainly something that's a specific item. Nimsa maybe davar mesuyim. He's bringing, like we said, he's something that he's not allowed to bring, which is a mashma kli. So Heitzi Rav Yosef Rav Blom v'hat taninan ne'arochin v'orchin, that a Gentile can serve as an object to be valued. Like a person can point to the Gentile and say, I want to give his value to the Beis HaMikdash. And orchin, they can take an erech vow themselves. Now, when they say that, lo lebedek habayis, and normally when you make such a vow, that's a vow that's not going for korbanos on the mizbech. That's clearly a vow going to temple upkeep, the bedek habayis. And what if he donates something that's a davar mesuyim, that's against Rav Yochanan? So heich mata omer tnan, we answer l'shamayim u'miskavin. When a non-Jew makes a donation based on Migdash, it's l'shem shamayim u'meilein born lebedek habayis. So that item comes into the bedek habayis automatically. Even when he donated an ola and he's got extra money, and the extra money is going to go to buy klishares, that clearly is also something that he wants to give l'shamayim. Right? Umeilein ein born lebedek habayis. So ma of the Rav Shem ben Lakish. So that seems to imply against Reish Lakish that you can bring a davar mesuyim. Reish Lakish said you can't bring a davar mesuyim. Passer law. So Reish Lakish would answer, loy lachem v'lo leave no space l'Elokeinu. When you initially built the Beis HaMikdash, that was only for Jews, not for non-Jews. Rav Chizkiya Omer Rav Simon Shal. So we don't accept donations from non-Jews for Bedek Habayis. And therefore, we can't be makabel donations from the La'amas Hamayim, which was the pipes to bring in the water to the Beis HaMikdash, U'l'chom HaSeir to build the walls, U'migdalo said the towers, Al Shein v'lachem ein chelek, because of that same pasuk. Period. Okay. I'm going to stop here because we have to do
At what time tomorrow?
we have to start the